Hello everyone, this is Crash Conroe and welcome back to the channel. So we are going to start a new series here called TGC Tours CC Preview, and this is where I will play a round of the CC course, the Challenge Circuit course on TGC Tours, which the vast majority of players are on. I don't know how many leagues there are, it's from League A until about League M or something like that. And if you're new to TGC Tours and you're qualifying, you will also play this course. So it will kind of be, you know, suggestions on how I think you should play the course and stuff like that. And this is the actual society, so this is we're going to play it exactly how round one is actually going to play. I'm not going to play all of the rounds, it will just be this, and this is how I intend to do it. So Ketchaboneck Club, is that how you say that? Ketchaboneck, quite a name there for the, I think it was the Myrtle Beach Invitational or something like that. So let's have a look at the default conditions. Firm, firm, fast are the default conditions, so that's quite difficult, I think. I know it says difficulty easy, but I will say I played this course earlier just to kind of see, and I've picked an interesting week. This course looks like a bit of a doozy, like the greens especially are a little bit all over the place. So let's have a look at how round one plays here. So we're always going to be off the blue tees for all 4 of your rounds. You'll be off the blue tees in one. Now let's see how round one plays. So it's low and everything else is default. So wind direction default. So we know this is going to be firm, firm, fast. Time of day default as well. I'll just bring up the weather report for this tournament quickly so we can have a look at that. And the green speeds and the greens and the fairways, I mean, they're firm and fast by default anyway. So there'll be quite similar speeds and firmness throughout this whole thing. There will be one round where the fairways are very firm, not sure what round that is, and there will be a couple of rounds where the wind speed is a little bit higher than this round as well. And that's pretty much it. Wind direction will be changing as well, but this might be quite a scoreable round, all things considered. So let's get into it. I hope if you are on the Challenge Circuit leagues or qualifying and you give this a watch, it might be helpful. I know some people have asked, you know, if I could do a kind of what's in my bag and my setup and things like that. And I might do that in a separate video. The whole one. And that wind is extremely low. That's very close to 0. So we pretty much don't have to worry about that. Whole one is fairly simple. This fairway is nice and wide. I think it's quite downhill, this tee shot. So it's not going to quite clear this bunker, but you can definitely still kind of hit it off to the left. And it should land somewhere there. And it's a good shot off the tee. Since this is the first video in this series, there might be some new people to my channel. So I will just establish and remind everyone that I intentionally pull the swing plane to the left. So you might see me aim a little bit more right than what it looks like I should. And that's the reason for that. So the second shot here, now I've been left with a nice kind of lob wedge distance. Now I'd say you don't want to miss past the tee here, the pin I mean, because you will be left with a really tricky downhill putt on these fast greens. You don't really want to miss here either, like this is very tricky, but anywhere down here, and I don't think there'll be too much break in your putt. You know, if you want to kind of miss, if you don't want to go straight at the pin in case you're worried about hitting a fast or a slow, missing left is the option there, missing left and short. Now I think I can hit this pretty much full with a lob wedge. Maybe a little bit aloft just to make sure it doesn't go too far. Very slight partial. I've hit a pretty big slow, but as I said, missing left is what you want really. The only thing is it's not quite gone. I definitely could have hit that full. I mean the slow definitely would have taken some distance off as well. But yeah, I mean this isn't a bad putt. If I missed a little bit more left, it would be even better. So I've been left a little bit against that slope. So this is for birdie on 1. It's only really going to turn at the start. And of course, with these fast green speeds, it will get over these initial lines quite quickly. Ball should straighten out, and it just holds on. Good putt. So yeah, this is the first time in a long time I've played the Challenge Circuit course. So I'm not really sure, like, are they always this difficult? I mean, You know, I played it's just the greens. The greens just look like a bit of a nightmare, like this one as well. So yeah, the round 1 pin is right in the middle. And again, being long is quite deadly. If you're long at all, I'm not sure if that putt is going to stop on the way back until it gets quite far down. So yeah, I think the only thing you really don't want to do here is miss long. So I have pretty much a pitching wedge, but again, I'm going to dial this back to be safe. I don't want to be long. And if you miss 2 left or 2 right, you'll be over the slope as well. A big slow again, and I might not get away with that. That might stay out to the right. The left, I mean. Yeah, my left and right's confused. Is that going to catch the hill? No, it isn't. That is going to sit there. Alright, well, I need to get my slows out of my game. I can tell you that much right now. This is for birdie on 2. We've had to tap that down the hill, and that's a really good putt. So we go to 2 under, and I will say on these green speeds you can afford to bring the marker quite a lot back on those putts. You've got to be a little bit careful when the green speeds are this strong. As we go to hole 3. Okay, now this is slightly downhill, this tee shot, and I'd like to be over on the left if I can, because you kind of give yourself a bit of a nicer run to the green. Like, you give yourself more green to work with, you know? But I don't want to risk it too much. I'm not actually sure if the ball will get over there. So the fairway's nice and wide. And I'm going to shape this so the ball is going to kind of move right to left and hopefully kind of go through this gap. And that's a better swing. Nice firm bounce on the fairway. So I am a little bit to the right, but to be honest, this is quite short, this hole. So if you do similar, you'll just have a wedge and you pretty much have to dart it at the pin anyway. So I've got 2 options here. I can either gap wedge full pitch or a lob wedge and play a little bit of a partial. Now I know some people don't really like playing partials. I am completely fine with it. So that's what I'll do, but I think a gap wedge pitch here is fine as well. Like it's almost the same kind of shot, really. But the more right you aim, the more risk you're taking on. But again, the pin is, you know, being long, again, here is deadly because you're kind of playing at the top of the hill. That really is the thing, like, you don't want to miss high. That's the one thing you want to avoid here if you want to keep the bogeys off the card. Oh no, I didn't pull that. I was supposed to. I was supposed to pull it. But it didn't really come out, so I'm quite lucky to be on the green, to be honest. And I've left myself in a pretty good spot because there's not too much break. I'm going to turn right at the start and then turn back to the left at the hole. Should come back. And it does. So the putters kind of saved me here. I could very well be 1 under. You know, holes 1 and 2, I didn't hit my approaches too good. But yeah, this tournament has more or less just started, so yeah, I like the people coming out and playing straight away. I'm playing this very late my time, but it's the weekend, so I normally stay up late anyway. Okay, now here's what we like to see. This is a reachable par 4. Now, when I played this earlier, I'm thinking I don't want to be left anywhere over here, because, again, above the hole, these screen speeds, you're really going to struggle to stop the ball here. I mean, you might do, but especially if you're in the rough or anywhere over here, that's going to be really difficult to even come away with a birdie. So I'm kind of going to aim a little bit left here. I'm going to dial it back a little bit. Even being in this bunker wouldn't be terrible either. Yeah, there's no wind. I'm going to give this big loft and we're just going to try and get it over here somewhere. Definitely should do with a swing like that. You can definitely take on the pin a little bit more. Like, I aimed quite far left there, but if you kind of aim in the exact direction of the pin and you hit a good swing, it will kind of nestle itself here, and that's not a bad shot from there. Like, you'll have a chip. Yeah, the option I took was a little bit safer. So from here, we've got a nice chip up the hill for eagle. Got a chance if it runs out. Oh, it's just going to miss left. But yeah, anywhere from there, you give yourself a chance for the eagle, and it should be a simple tap-in birdie. So we're 4 under through 4. We've started well here. As we go to the 5th, which is a par 3. And my gap wedge distance is more or less perfect here. It's 7 feet up, so that should kind of counteract it if it does go a bit long. Of course, the greens are firm, so it is going to take a pretty big bounce, but it's all uphill, so this should slow down and not be long. Nice, we finally got the slows out of our game there. That looks right on it. And it is. Okay, there you go, guys. That's what you do there. Nice and simple. But again, on that hole, being long is dangerous because it's all downhill. Like, you know, if you don't want to go pin seeking, that is absolutely fine. And you normally want to leave yourself below the hole. So this par 5. Now, I'm not too sure because you've got to remember the fairways are always playing firm. And this is actually slightly downhill, this tee shot. So if you ever have tailwind here, the driver might go too far and kind of reach that bunker. But you can't really aim more left because of the water hazard. So I'm going to dial this back just a little bit because this isn't that long. I think we could still go for it with the second shot. So I've got 91% there. And I could have hit it a little bit harder, but you can see from, you know, that there's not too much space before that bunker. And I definitely could have hit it a little bit harder. But honestly, with the fairways playing as firm as they are, 3-wood here is fine. Like, that will bounce and then get onto the green somewhere. Of course, there is this. You do have to be careful of the water here. So there's no harm really in laying up if you just want a little pitch to that pin. There is a nice little kind of backstop just after the pin. You don't want to go past that. So I don't think there's any harm in doing that. I'm going to fade a 3-wood to the left a little bit here because I don't want to be in the water. That's a good swing. And with these firm fairways, does that have the legs to get onto the green? I'm pretty sure that's going to. Yep. Oh yeah. And it's doing good stuff on those fast greens as well. Well, that's the kind of shot you want to play. If you're not confident on your tempo, there is no harm in hitting an iron to the fairway. You do just have to remember when the fairways are firm, if you miss to the right at all, it could be wet. So you just have to keep that in mind. Well, I'm here for eagle. I'm on a bit of an awkward slope. I think that grid line behind me might affect it a little bit more. So I'm aiming left edge. Yeah, it did turn to the right. That's a pretty good read. The other thing you've got to be careful about on the greens if the grid lines look a little bit jagged. Especially on a course like this because the greens are so bumpy. But when I played earlier, there wasn't too many shenanigans, you know, with ghost breaks and the like. The hole 7 is nice and simple. You've got this massive fairway and this pin is at the back. Nice backstop behind it. You can pretty much hit anywhere on the fairway here. And you'll have a nice approach to the hole. And that bunker's a little bit too far to come into play. Maybe if the winds are high and you've got tailwind, maybe need to consider that bunker, but in this round, absolutely not. Okay, so again, being long, not the one. That is very much the theme in this round so far. Just don't be long and trying to avoid as many of the wrong slopes as you can. Got to be on the right side of this. Not be over there either. The worst place you could be is over the back end in the rough because that is a very nasty chip. If you find yourself here, all you can do is tap a chip like as soft as you can. The ball might still roll all the way down. But there's barely any wind. I think a 9-iron is good here. Oh, I'm on a slope actually, so I'm going to have to aim this a little bit left. Quite slow. I aimed way too far left actually. Especially, you know, I pull it as well, so way too far left. Bit of a shame because the distance was right, but I'm going to be left with a difficult putt now. This is going to be side on, yeah. So the best place to miss here is definitely just short of the hole and level with it. But let's see if I can drain a putt here. If I do, I'll go to 8 under through 8. Through 7, sorry. We got it right. Yes, we have. It's dead center. And there you go. And even if you don't get that putt, pretty good place to leave it. I do think if you hit it, can't talk, sorry. If you miss the ball in the wrong place, you're going to get bogeys on this course. You definitely are, because some of the, this one as well, if you miss left, the ball's just not going to stop. I mean, this is a fairly short par 4. So it's kind of a tricky tee shot, because you can take this on. You can absolutely go left here. If you hit it really badly, you've got the water over there. I think because it's 18 feet down as well, you could get caught up in the rough to the left of the green. So if you're going to miss, you want to miss anywhere down here, except for the water, of course, but yeah, anywhere down here. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to dial back a driver. Again, if you don't like partials, you don't have to do this. But I'm going to try and just aim for this gap and make sure I'm in the fairway. Or I might not be, because... No, never mind, it's clearing it. Again, I meant to pull it, but I didn't. I actually pushed it right. Wow, that's going really far. Okay. I only hit that 91%. Maybe you could go for the green. You might be able to go for the green. I mean, the dangers are still what I said, but feel free to go for that. But the reason I was going to lay up slightly to the left is it's so short, this hole, that you could kind of lob wedge pitch, put spin on it, and it will sit. It will bounce once and sit. But the shot that I kind of accidentally played is actually even better here, because I've just got a chip in. Not too comfortable with these, though. These full length chips can get a bit awkward, but I'm pretty sure if I hit this full, I've put a bit of backspin on, so I'm assuming this is going to stop. Well, it needs to. Okay. Left with a little bit of a putt for the birdie then. But it's a good read. Yeah, it's always important to keep in mind, if you don't like those kind of 30-yard approaches to the green, try to avoid them. Try and think about it before you take your shot. And of course, I'm taking my time, but once you kind of get this stuff down, you can actually make decisions quite quickly. If you don't like taking ages on your round or whatever, you can just like line up the tee, have a look at the green quickly to see if there's a good kind of direction you can take to the green. You want as much green to work with normally. But on this hole, it doesn't seem like there's any good way, and the fairway's nice and wide. I don't think that bunker comes into play. So I'm just going to drive it down there. Nice big pull on the swing plane there. And a slight fast. That is going to get down there, 330 yards. And again, the pin here, I'm very curious about where the other pins are in the other rounds, because a lot of the round 1 pins, they're kind of in a little valley where, it'll roll back towards the hole here, it rolls towards the hole there, and maybe at the front as well. So are there going to be any pins where they're really on a treacherous part of the green? And surely there will be. All right, so again, barely any wind. Pitching wedge seems like it'll be the club. I'm going to put a little bit of loft and backspin on because I want it to really sit there. That's not a bad swing again. Going to take a big bounce off the front. Going to roll on a little bit. Didn't really need the backspin. But this is still where you want to be. Just inside that circle. Leave yourself with a makeable putt. Alright, so that's a 25 on the front for us. Now let's see what the back 9 has in store for us. So the first one is a relatively short par 4. Now that is not a nice pin, I can tell you that. If you're in the rough off the tee, you're going to find it very difficult to stop the ball anywhere near that pin. And it's very inviting, I've got to say, because it's so short. And it's slightly downhill as well. So if you hit a perfect drive here, it will probably clear this bunker. But the danger after that is it bouncing to the left and being in the rough over there. And even that rough, even though it's light rough, I think that'll be a tough shot from there because you've got to tackle those red slopes. So what I'm going to do... Oh, sorry if that came through the microphone. That was my phone. So what I'm going to do is lay up. I'm actually going to lay up here. I'm going to hit the nice part of the fairway. With a 3-wood. I could also partial drive it, but I'm going to... For once, I'm not going to partial. I'm just going to hit it full with a 3-wood. This is for all you out there who don't like hitting partial shots. Alright. And from here, now it's perfect because we have a full lob wedge, which naturally sits down quite fast. I will put backspin on it anyway. And this is pretty much a green light special. I think we can afford to hit this full. Ideally, it actually goes past the pin. And it kind of stays there. Good swing. A little bit to the right. We'll take a fairly big bounce and sit there. Right, I'm a little bit side on from here, unfortunately, because I was aiming too far right. But this is for birdie. And we just about get it. It just about holds on. But I think that's a good way to play that one, to be honest. Don't be afraid to take out the 3-wood there. Play it to the left. Because you give yourself a nice full wedge shot. Okay, look at this green, man. Okay, again, don't be long and try not to be over the other sides of these slopes either. I mean, this one is pretty simple, to be honest. You just got to run it up the front. Now, my question is 6-iron going to be too long? 17 feet down. I think it's a little bit between. I'm not sure if 7 is going to kind of get up as much as I want, you know? But if this is long, I'm in trouble. So, yeah, it's really up to you. I would not advise being long at all because you have a very difficult part that will go uphill first and then downhill. That is not what you want. So, yeah, I'm just kind of making a decision here. I don't think 7 is quite going to get up, so I'll play a partial 6. You might be able to play a big lofted one like this as well, but I prefer partial, so that's what I'm going to do. Almost forgot to aim left. Well, I've hit that 92%. And it is going to go. It's going to roll a bit as well. That's the thing you got to remember on the firm greens and the fast speeds. It does roll out even if it's uphill. But that was a good decision in the end. Yeah, I'm just not sure if you aim right at the front of the green, which for me would be a 7-iron if it quite gets up there. Because there are some steep slopes coming back towards you. You kind of got to try and clear those. Okay. Now, this one... Yeah, the more you take this on with a driver, the more you risk the water. Now, I don't want to hit a 3-wood, though, because that's a little bit too far back for my liking. I'd like to have a long wedge to this one and play it to the left as much as possible. The more right you go, the tougher that approach is going to be, because you have all of those slopes at the start to contend with. So, I'm going to dial back a driver, but quite a lot. I don't think 3-wood here would be terrible. But I want a little bit more distance, so I'm going to do this. Well, it's a big slow, though, and that is going to be left. I mean, that's another reason to lay up as well. The fairway's nice and wide here, so if your swing isn't great, you don't get punished too much. So I'm not quite close enough for a wedge. This is actually going to need to be a 7 here. But my 7-iron is perfect distance. It shouldn't go over this. It shouldn't go that far. Again, really is the theme of this round, just being too long, and you're going to be left with a downhill putt that's terrible on the way back. So I am going to loft a 7. Being short here isn't the end of the world. You just don't want to be long. I did not need to loft that. I did not need to loft that whatsoever. So we are short and left, but look at this. It's not that difficult a putt. I'm going to take the marker forward a little bit, give this a bit more power. See if we can get a read here. Lightly turning left the whole way. And we just about give that enough. Alright, I'll have to edit that out. Sorry guys, I had to just do something for about 15 minutes. So yeah, this video will be out a little bit later because I have to do that. Not that you guys will see any of that. I will edit that out. Okay, hole 13. So, short par 4. Very short actually. There's a chance that if you drive this, it will actually reach the green. So the consideration here is, will it go over this little mound that's on our side of the green? So it's to the right of the screen here. Really has to get over that. Otherwise, you know, if you're left on the green, you're going to have to putt it and you have to get over that slope. And that is going to go quite far past the pin. Unless it hits the pin and goes in, of course. So there's always the option to kind of lay up. I guess you could go either here or here. I mean, this is quite a tough shot with a driver to leave this here. So the ultra safe approach is to kind of hit a 3-wood, and from here you'll be left with a full wedge shot. As we've done on previous holes, that's not a bad place to be because the ball just bounces once and then it dies. So I'm going to go for it though. I'm actually going to go for it with a driver here. We'll see how we do. I think most of the rough around here is light rough. So like that light rough isn't as punishing. But if this is a good swing, that might actually get all the way onto the far side of the green, which is where we want to be. Let's see what this ball does. It's just a little bit too far left. It's going to die on this bit of rough. But I'll tell you what, that's still not too bad. Because if it does that, it's just going to stop. So we still have to get over this awkward little bit on the green, but we don't have to putt it. That's the important thing here. So from here, we can either do a tiny little partial flop, which isn't a bad play, to be honest, because that will sit super fast. Or we can max loft and max backspin a lob wedge chip. I'm more comfortable doing this, so I think I'll do this. The ball might still roll a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We tried to kill it. Tried to kill it. It is still going to roll on a little bit. Yeah. Flop isn't a bad shout there. I think a flop would roll even less than that. But we're not left in a bad position for the birdie. Gonna turn left, and we get it. So if you hit a drive in the absolute perfect spot, it might bounce nicely in the fairway and get all the way down. I do think it will get all the way down on that green, but it has to be a perfect shot. And of course, if you go for it, there is a risk of, you know, going into a bad spot where you have to contend with a really steep hill. So if you're confident with your wedge game, I don't think there's any shame in laying up with a 3-wood and going for it from there. And this par 5 is really awkward. Does this clear that? That shot is about level, I think. So it's very, very close. The darker rough here is light rough. This is heavy. This is light. It's a bit strange. Normally it would be the other way around. You've got this bit up here as well. But with this pin, I'm not sure if you want to go that way. Like the pin is tucked away back left. So it's a tricky one, really. It's not that long a hole. But I think I still want to be over on the left somewhere. On the right, sorry. If we can. I don't want to be over here. I think that's too much. Too much to contend with. It's the safer shot, don't get me wrong. You could definitely hit it there and then lay up. But it's a short par 5. We might as well go for this, right? If we're in the rough, I'll just lay up. It's a good swing. And that is straight in the bunker. Or is it going to roll out? Oh my god, we get away with that. Okay, well there you go. It's a tiny bunker, to be fair. So yeah, it will kick out of there. So this is light rough, and we can still go at this. Now this is a tricky pin, for sure. Thankfully, you can kind of use the contours of the green. You know, it all slopes left, so if you get this right, you can definitely, the ball will get down there a little bit. This backstop isn't too steep, so I'm not sure how much the ball will come back. Obviously, if you get stuck up here, that's quite bad. I mean, the ball is just going to not stop rolling. So it's not a bad shout to lay up somewhere just where you can pitch it and have the ball stop immediately. But I would definitely want to go for this myself, so I am going to. We're in the light rough, so I think this will be fine with a 3-iron. This might not actually be enough, but I'm going to go for it here. Because it's 30 feet up as well. Oh, that's absolutely going to be enough. Now, I want that to go left in a hurry. I don't want this to get stuck up here. I want there are strong slopes. All right. There you go. Now, to be honest, the more you take on those backstops, the more the ball's going to come back. The biggest risk is just playing it a bit too hard and it does get stuck in that rough. Because you know what the fringes are like in this game. It's just like Velcro. It will just sit there. But this has worked out really well for us. We have this for eagle. And we're going to miss it. Yeah, not a good read there. Not a good read at all. I definitely should have given that more power. That's the first mistake I've made, I feel like. On the greens, at least. But hey, it's still a birdie. Great chance to go to 16 under through 14, but sadly we couldn't quite take that one. Okay, so hole 15 is a par 3. And yep, this is pretty treacherous again. Now the problem is this bit, really, because if this bit wasn't here, I could definitely hit a 3-iron and have it run up. Because it's 42 feet down, so it's going to carry further than you think. 42 feet down, that's quite a lot. 3-wood, I mean, again, the whole theme for this round, if you're long, you're going to be left with a very tough shot. Now I'm going to hit a 3-iron, and it's a bit of a risk. It just has to get over here. Remember, the greens are firm and fast, so the ball is going to run out a little bit with a 3-iron. But let's hit this and see what happens. At the left pull with the fast. I think that's headed straight for that slope, you know. I think that's going to kill it. Yeah, so it does roll a little bit past it, but yeah, that's a really tricky one. That is really difficult. If you don't have the club, if you have a club that's between my 3-iron and 3-wood, play that club. Play that club and aim where I aimed. All right, so we have this one for birdie. We haven't actually parred yet. We've at least birdied every hole, so this could be our first unless we get this one in. Push that putt a little bit. Oh, we've just missed to the right. Doesn't matter. We didn't have the line right anyway. All right. Yeah, tricky hole. Tricky course, man. For CC, this feels really difficult. I don't know. But we go to 16, which is another par 5. And this one's playing quite long. 592. Nice wide fairway. I might be inclined to go for a little overpower here. 105, 110. Not too much of a risk. I'm not going to do it, though. I've never been too good at those. I do need to practice those a little bit, but if you're going to do that on any hole, this is definitely one to go for it, because otherwise it's probably not reachable anyway. All right, we've hit that 3-7, whatever we hit that, so let's see what we have here. 3-wood. It might run onto the green with the very firm fairways. Of course, the lie isn't 100%. You got to remember that as well with these 3-wood fairway lies. So it's not going to go as far as this. It's going to go out here. The driver lie for me is not very good. So yeah, you've got options. You don't want to miss right because the pin's on the right and it's all sloping to the left. If you miss down here, it's not terrible. Like, you can definitely work the slopes, but missing to the right here is going to be tough. So it is a bit of a decision. I think the safest shot would be a 3-wood and aim a little bit left and maybe put it like there. Driver, I can definitely try it, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere good, you know? Is it worth going for? Okay, I'm going to drive it a bit aloft than this to Give it a little bit of a better lie. And I'm not going to aim this very far right because, again, I don't want to miss right. You know. Okay, we're not missing right with a swing like that. Pretty good. Of course, it's just the more you take it on, the bigger risk you take. If I aimed more right and I hit it fast, I am a lefty as well. So for the right-handers, that would be a slow. But yeah, so it gets on the green. That's pretty much the target. The tough putt from here for eagle. Let's just make sure we get it close enough that we get out of here with a birdie. Done quite a lot on this first little bit here. All right. Starting to straighten out. Not bad. Didn't give it enough either. But yeah, tricky par 5 that one. I wonder if that will ever play more scoreable. Maybe there's a round with some tailwind on there. But yeah, if you want to try out the overpowered tee shot, that's definitely a hole to do it on. The hole 17 is quite simple again. Plenty of green to work with. Going to smack that drive down the middle. There's a lot of, like, the first cut around here is all light rough as well, so you're only going to get punished a lot if the swing is, you know, really bad off the tee. So the pin is at the back. I'm a little bit between clubs here. I know this is elevated, but it doesn't tend to affect these shots too much. So I still think a pitching wedge will go too far. Now, again, being off the back, say it all together, not what you want. We know this by now. So, yeah, with the very firms, we can aim this a little bit short. And I think here the only option really is to go at the pin. Like, there are some little awkward slopes everywhere, so it's a pretty big slow. I want this to at least get over that slope that's right there. Not quite done it. Alright, I was a little bit too cute with the power there. We definitely could have taken that on a little bit more. So I've left myself an awkward putt here for the birdie on 17. And left at the start, but then it's back to the right all the way. We get a birdie on 17. Is it going to straighten out? It starts to. It's a good effort. But we're going to tap in the par. Yeah, I just got that swing a bit wrong. Even with the slow, I definitely needed to give that more power. Okay. Final hole. I hope you found this helpful so far. And the final hole is a doozy, as I said at the start. Now, this is a hole where I want to go left, I think. Because if you go right, you've got less green to work with. Like, if you're on the left, that's your kind of approach. You've got more green. Go right, you've got that. So if you go here and then you miss to the right, you're off the green, you know? So if I hit this right, I've got plenty of green to work with for the second shot. Hit that slow. Yeah, I felt that straight away, but it should be fine. If anything, it's sending it even more left. Yeah, so that's where you want to be, I think. Now you've got plenty of green to work with. Alright, bucking the trend a little bit here. It's actually downhill towards the hole from your direction. It does go off all the way, so you have to try and control the spin a little bit here. Pitching wedge is pretty much green light special for me. It's 8 feet up, so it's not terrible. I'm going to give this a lot of spin to try and slow it down. It might roll out a little bit if you don't do that. The other option, of course, is to aim it kind of here. Should catch those slopes a little bit and go down, but I'm going to give this some loft and backspin with the pitching wedge. The slows come out again, but that's not terrible. That's really short again. I've got some of those wrong this round, and it's very confusing. I never expect them to be that short. Maybe it's the loft. Maybe it is the loft and the backspin. You can definitely get that closer than I just did. It is something you have to watch out for when you give shots loft and backspin like that. It does take from the distance, so I definitely should have done that a little bit better this round, but we have a birdie putt on the last. This is for 17 under, if we can do it. We read that one right. No, we hit that a little bit hard, I think. Yeah. Wanted to hit that a little bit softer than that. But we're going to smash in the par putt on the last. Slowed down a bit at the end, I guess. 3 pars in the last 4 holes. But before that, it was absolutely fine. So that is the Challenge Circuit course for this week, guys. I hope you found that a little bit helpful. And you got some tips from that. You know, some good places to play the ball. You know, the wider areas of the fairway. And to give yourself good run-ups to the green. Yeah, definitely on this course, you don't want to miss in the wrong place. So if you're not too confident, just try and make sure you'll miss in the right spots. You don't want to leave yourself in the rough above the hole, you know. That's where it's going to get tricky. But yeah, we come away from that with a 16 under. And yeah, I guess in America it's quite easy to play this early on a Saturday night. A bit more difficult for us Europeans. But yeah, hope you found that helpful. If you did, please leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're a fan of this. So whenever I'm available at the start of the week, I will do this for the Challenge Circuit course. I'll give it a little playthrough myself and offer some tips for everyone. And until the next video, guys, thanks very much for watching. See you next time.